The FNAF movie just got a ton of updates from Easter eggs hidden in the film, a brand new trailer causing a ton of debate, some non-FNAF movie news like FNAF AR, the abandoned game, coming back, and even some long shot hype of a Five Nights at Freddy's ride coming in the distant future. Like the video if you end up enjoying, but let's just get right into it. So the first piece of news I want to discuss is, you might remember in a previous video I talked about FNAF AR, a game that seemed to have been completely abandoned by the developers, with them deleting their YouTube channel and basically removing all mention of them ever making it. Well, the reason I want to discuss it is because not only did their YouTube channel get reinstated later, but they actually just posted to their website multiple FNAF AR GIFs, putting the game on display for the first time after over a year of being vacant. So that game appears to be back somehow, even though they already abandoned it. I don't know if they've always been working on this, or if maybe the backlash from everything made them come back, but either way, I'm very intrigued. Another minor thing I wanted to discuss is FNAF Ruin. Where in the world is the release date? As we are currently on July 5th, and there's still no information, with their Twitter account discussing basically nothing regarding the matter. I mean, I'm sure we will get a release date somewhat soon, but it really is starting to get weird that we are going deeper into July with still no answer. But moving on to movie news, first starting with probably the biggest news, the Five Nights at Freddy's movie trailer has finally officially just released. Now, I won't break this trailer down in full because other people have already done that and probably better. However, with this new release has brought a ton of discoveries and questions about the movie. For instance, we once again get to see William Afton played by Matthew Lillard, who we know for a fact is William Afton, judged by his IMDb page. However, in the trailer, their name is actually labeled on the desk as Stephen Raglan, which has caused some people to think that he actually isn't William Afton, or something happened in that vein. However, most likely this is actually some sort of alias being used by William in the movie, since, as we basically already know, he should be related to Mike Schmidt himself. And so let's say if William Afton were to kill a bunch of children, he'd probably want to hide his identity. And plus, some even pointed out potential clues to this, such as the inverted color scheme in the clothes that both Mike and William Afton actually share. There were also some other popular Easter eggs discovered, such as this Employee of the Month wall we see just outside of the main office, which contains photos of tons of YouTubers like Dawko and Razbowski, interestingly enough. Another cool thing found in this trailer is we can also see characters like Hank, played by Christian Stokes, and Max, played by Kat Connor Sterling, literally die in the trailer. So unless I'm missing something, those characters seem to already be some of the victims of the pizzeria before the movie has even released yet. We also in this trailer got to see some finished shots of the fountain scene, which was something that was popularly leaked all the way back in February. And most importantly of all, something I already knew from the original leak trailer a couple months ago, but I can talk about now finally, is that Springtrap is officially going to be in the movie, along with Corey Kenshin, and perhaps most interestingly of all, Golden Freddy, maybe? Well, I guess transitioning into the theories of the movie, there was actually a lot of questioning about who this character we see in the backseat of the trailer actually is, with some thinking it's regular Freddy and others thinking it's actually an appearance from Golden Freddy himself, who was originally only seen in the actual game as an Easter egg. And at least in my opinion, it feels pretty clear as day that this is actually Golden Freddy showing up here, because he matches the same appearance as this original teaser poster we got of Abby and this version of Freddy, who looks exactly like the Freddy we see here. And they also match a ton of traits to Golden Freddy in game, like the golden brown shading and the missing ear. Not to mention that this version of Freddy's eyes look a lot more different than the Freddy we see on stage, where rather than having a glassy eye that turns red, this Freddy has empty eye sockets which actually instead turn blue, possibly giving the impression, like what we may have thought, that Golden Freddy could be a character who helps the main cast throughout the film. Another interesting theory seen regarding the film is that, like we said in videos previously, on the IMDb page, they've stated in the past that characters like Balloon Boy and the Marionette were set to be put somewhere in the movie. However, they don't make any appearance in this new trailer, and there doesn't seem to be any references to FNAF 2 or its characters at all, outside of, I think, one drawing of Balloon Boy. So if those two characters are still going to be in the film, where are the references to FNAF 2? Well, some people have actually noticed on Twitter that if you look closely at the animatronics' mouths, in some shots you could see what appears to be a line of stitching on random parts of their mouths. More specifically, Chica has lines across her cheek, while Bonnie has a line around his entire head, which was pointed out to being potentially related to the withered versions of these animatronics that show up in the sequel, where Chica has a long extended beak and jaw area in her withered version, while Bonnie is completely missing his head entirely, which to me gives off the impression that these stitches could possibly be used when making these characters to eventually have their endoskeletons popped out to give a more withered feel later in the movie. However, it could be a bit of a stretch theory, and I would take it with a grain of salt. Also, speaking of characters, by far the best character in the movie so far for me has got to be Foxy, because while we don't see him much and they kind of keep him under covers literally, his animatronic looks insane when we get to see it, and here's a couple good screenshots of him for those who missed it, along with a couple other BTS screenshots we got of them actually filming and directing of the movie, giving us a scale on how large the animatronics are. Plus, super recently, we also got some behind the scenes photos actually showing people playing inside of the suits, which for one confirms to us that there are going to be people playing inside of the suits inside of the movie, which I think we could see some shots of even in the trailer. And two, we also get to see the inner workings of these suits and animatronics, which once again show just how much effort was put into them, giving them a crazy accurate look to the animatronics seen on the stage, along with some funny selfies where we could see Freddy eating the cast. In other news, something you might have forgotten about is that the movie is also going to get a novel, presumably discussing the plot of the film, and maybe going more in depth into the movie's seemingly original lore. But recently, we actually got ourselves the official cover for the film, which is simply the movie's poster itself pasted onto it. But we also got a description regarding the book saying, the hugely anticipated Five Nights at Freddy's movie from director Emma Tammy starring Matthew Lillard and Josh Hutcherson hits theaters on October 27th, 2023. This movie novelization is a must-have for any Freddy fan. However, moving on from the basic stuff, I want to talk about probably the wildest rumor I've heard regarding the FNAF movie, and it's that the movie after its release is going to potentially get some sort of ride or attraction about the film. And this rumor stems from that within the past few days down in Universal Studios, a theme park based on turning movies into real-life attractions, started to heavily promote the Five Nights at Freddy's movie inside of its park, with there being a few different banners hanging around the area of all of the main four characters, of course advertising the movie, which I would say at this point has a ton of hype around it. However, with them putting this in Universal, people have actually began to theorize, or at least hope, that this could be teasing the movie in some way being included in the park as some sort of promotion. For instance, perhaps a restaurant in the theme of Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria, which we've seen independent people do on their own countless times. Or as a stretch goal, maybe if the first movie does well and the next two are super popular, perhaps there could even be a ride featuring the animatronics, which would make a lot of sense when you think about it. But the most logical and genuinely plausible thing that people have pointed out is that Universal every Halloween holds an event starting in September called the Halloween Horror Nights, which is simply just your classic Halloween theme park reskin event with haunted houses and extra theming, all that good stuff. But people have at least been hoping that with FNAF itself dropping the week of Halloween or right when the event itself ends, that possibly for promotion with the film being created by Universal and being heavily pushed by them in their own theme parks, they could maybe feature it in this new event to some degree. I mean, I don't really know the specifics of how Universal and this event specifically works, but other games like The Last of Us are actually getting fully fledged haunted houses of their own in this event. So while it sounds like a massive stretch, this is actually a very sensible thing to do, and to at least hope it's going to be featured to some degree this year. But while we wait for that, if you're wanting some more FNAF news to talk about, check out this video here. Subscribe if you enjoyed, and peace out, guys.